Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, and if you're new here, my name is Brandon, and as you can tell by the title, it's going to be a super exciting video because this will be all about my Disney College Program or Disney Cultural Exchange Program application process and interview vlog, which will be so much fun. As you all maybe already know, if you watched the video from Wednesday, I did get accepted into Disney's Cultural Exchange Program, which is the Canadian and international equivalent of the Disney College Program, which is so exciting. It's my second time. I am a Disney Cultural Exchange Program alumni and a merchandise alumni, which is so great, and I'll be doing merchandise a second time on this program, and I cannot wait. But I still did want to share this video because I filmed lots in the whole kind of process like I did last year. I filmed even more at the interview this year and talked about some different things. So in this video, I'm going to show all of the stuff from scheduling the interview to going to the actual interview, preparing for the interview, and then I'll at the end talk about all of the questions that I was asked as an alumni and touch on all of the questions that first time people were asked as well, because I did kind of get a feel for what those people were asked, just to share it with all of you if it's your first time applying and you kind of stumble across this video, or if you are one of the alumni as well that's kind of looking out there to see what alumni interviews are maybe like. Hopefully this video is helpful for you. And if you're new, I just want to say consider subscribing for more of this kind of content, because I will be heading down to Walt Disney World very soon to start my program in just a few short months, which is so exciting. I also wanted to add in two things here before the video starts. And the first is that myself, Heidi, and Haley and Tommy over at With the Deficits have started a podcast, which we've kind of shared here and there, but I did want to share it here as well because we're so excited about it. And the first episode will drop on Monday. It is called the Park Squad Pod, and we're so excited. It'll be dropping at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. The first episode won the pilot episode, which is so exciting, and it will drop at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and then we'll drop at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the video format, on this channel, It's Always Sunny, and then Haley and Tommy's channel, as well as the Park Squad Pod channel, which I'll leave in the description down below. The first episode will be across all three channels, and then moving forward, they will only be on the Park Squad Pod channel. So if you're definitely interested in that, you should go subscribe. We'd appreciate it so much, and we can't wait to have like another extension to talk more Disney and kind of give our thoughts and have some fun over there. It'll be so great, and we cannot wait to get it started. I also wanted to share something super exciting, and that is that Magical Castle Embroidery, which is our favorite Disney-inspired small shop, is having their 5-year anniversary, which is so fun and such a big accomplishment that we're so proud of them for. And we love them so much. You know this, we talk about them often, and we are brand reps for them. And they are having their 5-year celebration over on their Instagram and their shop, and they're sharing some stuff. And to celebrate, they have given us a great code to share with all of you, and that is Sunny20. So usually it's Sunny10, but from now until January 30th, it's going to be Sunny20, which is so exciting. They have so many fun things that have come out. They have a whole Happy Place collection that they've dropped here and there. So many incredible attraction-based t-shirts and sweaters. So many hats, which I'm wearing right here, my Donald PhilharMagic hat. They have so many things for so many different things within Disney that you may love, and super underrated attractions and shows and just all that stuff with merch that you can't get anywhere else. So we're so excited to share this, that they're having that 5-year celebration. So definitely check out their shop. We'll leave it linked in the description down below, as long as their Instagram, because they're doing a giveaway over there as well. And like I said, use code Sunny20 to save you 20% off any order on their shop to go get some of that fun Disney inspired stuff. So with all that being said, we're gonna hop right into this video, which will be me going through the application process, interview process, the actual day of the interview vlog, and then sharing all of the questions that I was asked. I hope you're just as excited as I am. So let's get into this. All right, so it is, I just looked at my watch and I don't even have it on. It is Wednesday, December 20th of 2023 at 10:30 at night. And this actually happened like a couple hours ago, but we were on a FaceTime with Haley and Tommy, so I couldn't check this. I actually got the email and reacted to it there with them. So I didn't get to film it because this is just unexpected, but I got an email for an interview for Disney's Cultural Exchange Program, which if you're watching this video, then it's come to the light that I'm actually, I guess, going on this program, which is crazy. But this will have been my second time, and the interviews for Alumni this year are also in person, which is so fun and exciting. Last year they were not, and they were on Zoom, which I'm excited that they're in person because it's much more fun and exciting and cool to be there for like the presentation and see the stuff. But as you can tell, I'm in my Christmas stuff. We did some Christmassy things here today, but I wanted to again show you like the process like I did last time of the interview and the prep and all the fun stuff, because maybe it's different year to year, maybe the same, who knows, but I wanted to show you kind of what the email looks like and then my choices for the interview day. So here is the email, the same kind of thing as last year, but if you're new, this is what it looks like. So this is kind of showing that I'm invited to the next step in the process, which is so fun, and I'm invited to an interview and a like in-person presentation. So we click on this right over here, and this is gonna take us to a little calendar, which will show us our times, which is so fun. So the Monday, Tuesday is for Toronto, the Friday is British Columbia, and then Monday is in Quebec. So for me, Toronto's the closest. I know people who do this program travel potentially from all over Canada to come for their interview, which is so a lot and so crazy. So hopefully there's a city close to you, at least close enough. And I would love to know if anyone's watching this who's doing the program or has applied, which one you're going to, because that's just so fun, or which one you did go to, I guess. But this is the day that I'm looking at, the second Toronto day. And you can see that it kind of has the details and like the presentation time, which is the morning thing, like about the program and kind of like expectations and a breakdown of like cost and timeline and roles and different things. And then it shows your interview time with the time slot, which is cool. So they're all kind of broken down. I know last year that these times went pretty quick. Monday for Toronto is pretty empty right now, but the Tuesday is pretty good. So I'm going to pick my time, which is exciting. Look through all these and decide, because Tuesday is my day off of school. All of the other days I have classes, so I can't do Monday, which is unfortunate. You'll also get this email, which is exciting, which I'll take you through, which is about like a role checklist and kind of ordering things in order of what you would want to do, which is cool. I'm excited to see this year what the roles are and what's being offered. But yeah, that's that. So I'm booked in from 12 to 1 in Toronto at the Intercontinental Hotel, which is cool. I'm excited to see what it's like and see if I know anybody there who's doing it like a second or multiple times, see all of the people doing it for the first time, which is so exciting. This was like a really fun moment in my journey last year of like where I met Sarah, which was so cool, and Cass, and like other people who I became friends with, which was really cool, and people who like you just like see around through like the Canadian group and community, which is so cool. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait for the interview. You'll of course see the interview. I'll vlog it like I did last time. I'm also tomorrow going to do my role checklist, which I did last year, which then didn't really matter because then it was just like 5 things offered, and this had other stuff like character attendant and performer and different things. So we'll see what that role checklist looks like. I'm excited to see that and then rank everything, and I can't wait for you to see my rankings. But this is just so crazy that this happened here today. Did not expect this. I'm so happy about it because I was hoping for an interview, and now I guess we just hope that I get accepted and that everything goes well. But you'll see like this next clip will be me tomorrow, but you've seen this right after, of me doing the role checklist and taking you through that, which is exciting. So I'm just excited and happy, and hopefully this is a step in the right direction for my second program. So it has been some time. This is after the Christmas break. The last time that I filmed anything related to this application / interview process was before Christmas, when I had found out that I got like an interview and picked the interview time. It is now January 7th. So happy New Year, which I know that we've already posted a video for the New Year, but happy New Year nonetheless. And my interview is on January 9th. So in 2 days on Tuesday, I'm filming this on a Sunday. We just did like a little DCP reunion with all of my Canadian pals that got to come and hang out. So I'll leave that video linked up here, but I thought that I would sit down and film this. And this is my role checklist, and I'm gonna be putting it up on the screen like I did last time, because for those that don't know, I'm applying for the second time. I did a program last summer in merchandise, and we're gonna go over my role ranking. I know in the interview they ask you like your top 3 roles, or they did last year anyway, and I'll be sure to fill you in on that once I actually complete my interview. But I just wanted to do this because we have to, but also film it on here so you can see it and kind of like talk about my thought process behind where I'm ranking each thing. So I'm gonna pull this up here. You can see the email. It says, "Dear Brandon, thank you for your interest in the Disney International programs, and in preparation for your interview, please click the link below to complete the role checklist." So we clicked on that and it brought us to this little section here, which shows all of the roles that are offered. Now, last year, all of the roles on this checklist were not offered specifically in the presentation. For example, things like character attendant, character performer, and recreation activities and stuff like that. But I do know people on their first time who did get some of those. Like my friend Lucy was a character attendant and it was her first time doing the program. So I know that there's stuff out there where you maybe don't get roles on certain times, or your first time, or you have to be like alumni and stuff. I'm not an expert by any means. I just know like from personal experience. And I know that some people do get certain roles the first time. Others may not. Others may get it when they're an alumni, or may not get it even when they're coming back as an alumni. So I'm just gonna rank these based on if I actually could get these roles, where that I would wanna rank them, and I'll kind of give my thought process behind them, kind of knowing like my personal experience from my role last year in merchandise, but also like other people who I became friends with and like they worked these roles. So maybe kind of what they talked about and what they liked and maybe how I see that fitting with myself. So hopefully that makes sense. So the first one up is quick service, food and beverage. And for those that don't know, you can read it here if you can see it here, all of the stuff listed. But basically you're working the quick service restaurants, for example, somewhere like Woody's Lunchbox, or some of the like outdoor vending carts around the parks that do ice cream and popcorn and those kind of things. So there's a lot of different locations that could vary with quick service food and beverage. And of course you're like selling food, taking orders and that kind of thing. I know for me, this was one last year that I put no interest in this one, and I'm gonna do the same thing this time around. I just know for myself, in terms of the other roles that are offered, this would be one that would not be towards the top for me, and I don't wanna put really any interest in it because I wouldn't really want to do this role, knowing what people talked about it and stuff last time. I know a lot of people who did love it, who I became friends with, who loved food and beverage, but I just don't think it's for me, so I'm gonna put no interest on food and beverage. Next up is merchandise, which of course I am a merchandise alumni, and I did that last summer in theater animation, which was just the absolute best thing. And there's a lot of perks about merchandise, and I'll talk more about those later on, I think, when we like maybe talk about the interview questions, because I'm thinking that they'll probably ask me stuff about my previous role, and I'll kind of talk about that when I say kind of what I said about it. But for me, merchandise was just a dream. It was perfect. I loved my location. I loved all of the interactions that I got to have. I loved chatting with people, and like the stores that I worked were so fun, building lightsabers and selling Toy Story toys and working Phantasmic, and it was just so great. And in and of that stuff, not only those locations, I did love the role of merchandise, and I really loved like I said, being able to talk to people and like interact and see kind of what people are enjoying about their trip and their stories behind why they're at Disney, or what they love about Disney. So for me, that was amazing, and I'm gonna keep this one like I did last time. This is probably my highest interest. Again, I really loved it, along with something else on this list, but I'm gonna put high interest for merchandise because I absolutely loved it so much. Next up, we have Lifeguard, and Lifeguard, I am not a great swimmer. I know that you don't have to necessarily be like a certified lifeguard before going, that they can train you on it and give you like the certification to do it down there. But for me, I just am not a swimmer, and I am not putting any interest in being a lifeguard, because by chance, if they did pick me for it, I am not gonna be great at being a lifeguard, and that's okay. You don't have to be. So again, my whole thought process, I should have said this before, there's high interest, moderate interest, and low interest, and then no interest. If you do put any interest, there is a chance that you could get it. To my knowledge, if you put no interest, they're not gonna really give it to you. Maybe they could if they need people for it. I'm not too sure, but to my knowledge, if you put any type of interest, low, moderate, high, there is a chance that you could be given it. For example, if they ask you in the interview, what are your top 3, and you said merchandise, attractions, custodial, even if custodial is your third choice, because you had it in there, they could give it to you because you said that you would do it. So for me, I'm gonna put no interest on Lifeguard because all of the things that I said, I'm not a great swimmer and don't have interest in doing that. Next up is attractions, which is something that I think that I would like, and I remember ranking this, I'm pretty sure last year, under moderate, because it wasn't something that I was like super high on like merchandise, but I knew that it was probably the next best thing of the ones that were like the traditional roles, like custodial, merch, attractions, and food and beverage, and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna keep this one, I think, at moderate, like last time. And this is of course working any attraction. You could be parking, you could be like parade control, you could be like the touch points when you scan into the park. There's a lot of things that factor within attractions. And I think that it would be cool because you could get a lot of cool different things. Like I had friends who did like Tomorrowland or some shows in Hollywood studios, like Mine Train, different cool attractions, Slinky Dog Dash. So for me, there's a lot of good potential there, but I still think that I would rank merchandise a little bit higher on that for me. So I'm going to put moderate interest in attractions. Next up is going to be custodial. And again, I knew some people that worked custodial. My friend Caden did this and loved it so much and thought it was so great and had a great experience with it, which makes me happy. I know like a lot of people who do this role and love it so much. And I think it's a role that people kind of look at it and don't want to do. But I think a lot of people who do it really enjoy it. For me, it's not something that I would have high, moderate, or low. And again, I did this last year and it's going to be the same for me this time. And I'm going to put no interest on this one because if I have to realistically look at where I rank everything, this one and food and beverage are at the bottom, and lifeguard is also down there because I just am not a swimmer and I'm not a lifeguard. But in terms of the other roles that I could do, this is one that I just unfortunately would not be interested really in. So I'm going to put no interest. And I want to say this as well. It's okay to put no interest. I know that sometimes people like out there have said this, like when I watched about the program and watched like certain videos, that people said don't ever put no interest because then you limit yourself, which is true. But also you just have to be honest with yourself about what you think that you would like and what you wouldn't like. And for me, I'm honest with myself that I know that I wouldn't really want to do custodial or food and beverage. So I'm okay putting no interest and hopefully knowing that the other things I'm very interested in, and I can talk about that in the interview. That's kind of my whole thought process, and just a tip that I have like for anyone who maybe is worried about putting no interest. I think as long as you put no interest and then are confident with the other ones that are high or moderate, and you can talk about why you think those are a better fit for you, I think that you're okay. That's just my personal opinion and my personal advice. Take it if you want it, and if not, that's okay, but that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Next up is character performer, and character performer is one that I really don't think is offered that often for international. I know that it's something that maybe has more training and more sort of experience around that, and maybe might be offered more so to alumni than first-time people. Again, I don't know anybody who I met from Canada that was a character performer, or other international countries, now that I come to think of it. I did know like American people who I had spoke to that were character performer. But for this one, I'll put low interest. I feel like that I would be interested potentially in certain things, but I don't want to put no interest or high interest. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. So I'll put low interest in character performer, because in terms of something else character related, I'd have much higher, and we'll get to that very soon. Next up is housekeeping, and this one is along the same lines of custodial to me. This is just that you're cleaning rooms and working at resorts. And this again is something for me. I don't know anybody who was an international program participant who did housekeeping. It could be offered. You could get it, I guess, if it's on this list. But for me, I'm also going to put no interest in this one, because again, there are ones that I'm just much more interested in than housekeeping. Next up is character attendant. And now this was one that last year I ranked as well very high with merchandise, and I think I'm still gonna do the same thing. After talking with Lucy about this, she kind of talked a lot about it, and I think that I really am interested in it. I go back and forth with it because I think there's a lot of like responsibility, and it's just like very different than anything that I would have ever done before, but I do think that I would really like it, and I do think that I would be good at it. So I think that I'm going to put again for character attendant high interest. I think it's a very cool job, a unique job, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there for cool interactions and just cool like Disney storytelling, like being a part of somebody's story. I think that's really cool. So for me, this one and merchandise are right at the top with the things that I'm the most interested in. And I'm going to talk about that hopefully like with my interview, that I am interested in this one, and merchandise the most so. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. But character attendant, for those who don't know, is of course you're the cast member who is helping the characters interact with guests and being there for them if they need anything, which I think is really cool and really fun. And Lucy loved it. Anybody who I knew that was a character attendant loved it so much, and I think that I would really enjoy it. So I'm gonna put this one high interest. Next up is recreation attractions, and this is working at resorts, I think, but also could be mixed in, because I remember like getting this one kind of backwards last year, where I think it's kind of all like lumped in, where this is also working at like pools and water parks, like in the picture here with like like towels and life jackets and those kind of things. And like it says here in the description, like watercraft rental and marina operations and those kind of things. So I'll put this one, I guess, under moderate interest. Again, there are ones maybe that I would have higher up, and I don't really know what this one really entails, because I think if it was more so like the resort activities, that would be higher for me than like operating boats and towel rental and that kind of stuff. So now when I kind of say it out loud, I kind of think about that I might put low interest on this, because I don't really know exactly what it is, because it says strong swimming skills and driving boats and stuff. I don't know if that's for me. I feel like if there's like my top 3 is merchandise and character attendant and attractions, I feel like this one, I guess, would be towards the bottom. Like I said, if it was the recreation activities or like the resort activities, that like sort of aspect I would like. But in terms of this recreation attractions description, it's not really something that I guess that I would like, because it's very like watercraft and water related, and I kind of don't really know that I love the water. I sometimes get a bit nervous about it and swimming and that kind of thing. So we'll put low interest for that one. And then we have Cedar is our last role here, which is, again, at restaurants, you're at the front and you seat people or help people, like when they come into restaurants or different places. You also could like bus tables and put out silverware and that kind of stuff. I did know a few people that actually did this role and they loved it and enjoyed it, but this is not something that I really like know too much about. It seems pretty self-explanatory and pretty straight to the point of what you're doing. So I'm gonna put this one moderate interest, which is what I also did last year, kind of in the middle, like attractions, where I would be fine to do it and I think it'd be great. You'd have good guest interaction. It'd be busy and fast paced, which I like. But if I kind of had to rank everything, maybe I can talk about that like towards the end here once I finish this, but like this is somewhere in the middle for me, which is perfect for moderate interest. So my ranking is complete. I just pressed submit on that and that is all done now, which is great. So I guess in terms of if I had to rank stuff before going into my interview, I would say that merchandise is still probably number 1, closely followed by character attendant. Those are like top 2, and then probably my 3rd would be attractions. I would say right now that's my top 3. And if character attendant wasn't an option and they don't bring that up, then I guess I'd have a Cedar as my 3rd thing and we'd move attractions up. But again, those are my top 4. Merchandise was just so great that I would love to do it again. And I do think what I liked about it was you can pick up like at different locations and try different things out. And I just think it'd be so fun to go back and work at my old location a couple times. That would just be so awesome. And then character attendant, I just think that I would love. And I know that it might be stressful or like very busy, but I do think that I would have a good time with it and I'd have so much fun. So those are my top 2. Like I said, attractions is 3rd. I think I'd have a good time with that as well, but I just don't like it as much as the other 2. So I guess that's where we're at with that. I'm in a film tomorrow, which you'll see right after this, me inputting all of my stuff on Doc. The like system where you have to put in your passport and your candidate like information stuff and then your proof of student status form. I'm gonna get that like signed by my school tomorrow because it's my first day of school for the new semester. So I'm gonna tomorrow like film uploading all of that, and then that'll be everything before the interview. And you'll see like me, I guess, like show my outfit and stuff, and that'll all be prepping for tomorrow because the interview's a couple days away. So we'll see you in a few seconds with me uploading all of my documents onto Doc. All right, it is Monday, January 8th. It was my first day of school back for my 4th semester of my program, the 2nd semester of this year. And tomorrow is my Disney Cultural Exchange interview in Toronto, which is so exciting. My voice is kind of going a little bit today. I don't really know why. I feel like it's maybe just going around. I had the sickness over the Christmas break, and I guess now I got like a little bit of raspy, which is unfortunate, but hopefully go to bed early and everything will be fine for tomorrow. But I wanted to show what I'm wearing tomorrow. It's the same thing that I wore last year. I like it. It's just very basic and plain, but like classy and nice. So I'm gonna wear that tomorrow. I'm of course gonna take you all with me tomorrow and vlog as much as I can tomorrow like I did last year, and kind of talk about the questions that they asked and like the day that goes on there, which is always fun. Caden and Kennedy are gonna be coming with me taking the train, which is fun, so you'll see them in the vlog, but I'm gonna show you the outfit and then we're gonna get some rest and head off to bed before the big day tomorrow. So here's the outfit. I have it hanging on our pin books here just so I can leave it up here, but it's a black dress shirt with this kind of like gray and black tie. I just like how it looks together, and then behind there I just have some dress pants. So again, very basic. I'm gonna wear it with some dress shoes. Again, it's not like too formal where it's like a suit and stuff, but also not too casual that it's just like a button up. I did want to wear something that's a little bit in between, and I think this is a good option. So again, I can speak from this perspective of myself, who's a guy who's going to the interview. So for me, this is kind of my outfit. Again, hopefully this is a good look. I think I like it a lot. And again, people asked me last year what I wore to the interview, and this was what it was, because I think people are like unsure what to wear, which is fair because it's hard. They don't really tell you, but I just say something like that where it's like professional attire, not super formal, but kind of in between. So for me, that's what that is. Again, I'm excited for the interview, and I'll be sure to fill you in on everything. I hope that you're excited. I'm excited. So we'll see you in the morning for the interview travel little vlog day. All right, it's a new day, and we are on the GO train headed to Toronto here with Caden and Kennedy. Caden has an interview today as well with me, and Kennedy has her CRP interview tomorrow. So we're gonna head on the train, take you along with us. Cannot wait. All right, we've made it to the big city, Toronto. Caden and Kennedy are here. We got our coffees, Starbucks, because, you know, now I'm a Starbucks kind of person. Hey. Wow. Hot takes, hot takes. But this is delicious. So thank you guys for my coffee. We're about to head to the hotel, get all situated, and wait for the presentation, which is at 9:30. It's about like, I think just before 9 o'clock now. So we'll chat before. I'll show you as much as I can, and then we'll talk about the interview after. All right, I'm here with Kennedy, and we are sitting here. Caden's actually doing his interview now, probably. We just got done with the presentation, so Kennedy's hanging out with me. Hopefully you can hear me clearly, but it was the same recruiters as last year, Danielle and Roy, and then Mandy was the third person who works in Hollywood Studios, which was fun. And I'll talk more about, of course, at the end of this video, like the questions I was asked, who I had for my interview, but basically the presentation portion is just like going over the program, what roles they're offering this year, and the different costs and stuff. So the only difference this year is they're offering recreation activities as a role specifically with limited spots, and then the health insurance is different. And I'll touch on all that later on because I don't want to do that here where you can't hear me, but my interview is scheduled from 12 to 1, but they've moved everybody up so that all of the interviews end at 1, so there's no afternoon interviews. So that's good. So we're just gonna hang out, sit here, finish our coffees, and wait for my interview, and then I'll fill you in once I get home on what they asked and kind of the breakdown of the program presentation. So it is now a few days after the interview, and hopefully you enjoyed the little vlog where you could see the interview. After this, you'll see all of the questions that I was asked, which is fun, but I did want to finish this. I meant to do this before, which I did all the things before on docs, but now there's more things that have come up. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on my end. Basically, some of the stuff is the same as last year, and if it's your first time applying, I'll show you what's there for first time applicants. And then if you're an alumni, I'll show you what's currently there on docs right now. I just haven't finished it because I do want to show this kind of new step in the process. I'll show you both of the different kind of avenues that happen if you've done this before, or if it's your first time actually doing this program. You can take a look on docs and see which way that you'll have to go to do these things. So here is doc, you can see it there, which has all of these stuff that you need to do, which is like your personal information, your proof of student status, all that kind of stuff. So everything that's at the bottom there in green is complete, and things in red are incomplete, obviously, as it says. But the 4 things on the bottom are the things that were there the first time that I ever applied, and we're here once again because that's kind of like the critical information. So that'll be there if you're a first-time applicant, but then if you've done the program before and you're an alumni, there is these 2 new things right here. which says prior US work visa, and United States Social Security number, which are new because I do have both of those. So if you're an alumni, you would have gotten a Social Security card and you would have had your visa, which would have that information on it. So like I said, the bottom is stuff that I've already completed and that you would have to do if this was your first time applying and if you're an alumni. And then these two incomplete things at the top are only for alumni because you have to have done the program before to have both of those things. But I did want to show you what it looks like because for those who saw it last time, know that I didn't have that. And now if you're like an alumni watching this and you want to know what to expect, that's kind of what it is. So I'm going to fill that out and then hopefully everything will be green and then docs will be done, which is perfect. And then I'm just awaiting next steps to see if I do get accepted. But the next thing that you'll see is all of the interview questions that they asked me. I'm gonna do like a little sit down rundown of all of the questions as an alumni and then kind of talk about what I heard there from first year like applicants and stuff and what they got asked. It was like a little bit, I think, different than last year and kind of the process, and I'll kind of explain how the interview was laid out and how the presentation was, any new differences, and like I said, all of the questions that I was asked as an alumni. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed all of that kind of stuff and the like process behind like the application with the interview and just like the vlog of the interview day. I always love to share that because I know as a first time person, when I actually like applied for this the first time, I was looking up stuff because I was curious what it would be like and kind of what goes into it. So hopefully if you've stumbled across this video, this has helped you, or even if you're not doing the program and you just want to see kind of what this process is like, hopefully this did a good job at kind of showing you what it's like for either a first time person or an alumni and kind of what that like behind the scenes process looks like. So now we're gonna get into the whole presentation and kind of the interview questions that they asked me, which is very exciting, and I can't wait to share this because there were some good questions and I think this is very valuable information for anyone who's applying like I did, because then you get a good grasp kind of like what type of questions they may ask or kind of what the vibe was like in the interview. So first of all, for the presentation, we had Danielle and Roy, who we had last year, which was so great, and they are fantastic. So it was nice to see them again for a second time. And then we also had Mandy, who is someone who works in like the operations kind of division, I think, for Hollywood Studios, which is so cool. So we had the three of them who actually did the presentation, and then we're gonna go on to do the interviews. Last year, I actually had Danielle for my interview, and this year I had Roy, which was so exciting. Both were so great to talk to, and I loved both interviews because they were just like a conversation between two people who like want to get to know each other and learn about why we want to do the program. That's kind of the whole thing about it, which I think is really great. I shared this in the accepted video, but the dates for this program are Canadian Cultural Exchange Program are May 13th until August 15th. So you're down there for 3 months, which is much shorter than the college program is for those American people who do that program. That's usually 6 months to a year. You can extend it and kind of times can be a bit longer or different, but usually 6 months I think is kind of the like norm for most people, 6 to 8 months, which is exciting that they get to do that. Ours is shorter, but I do think that you still get to kind of pack a lot in, which is exciting. They also said that the rate of pay this year will be starting at $16, which is different from last year. It did move up to $16 in June, but now we're going to start at that, which is very good. That'll help us a lot while we're down there. They also went over all of the roles that are offered this year, and you saw in this video, I did a whole role checklist and all that kind of stuff, and they do look at that and they know that you submitted that, but there were some roles on that checklist that were not offered this year, and I will go over the ones that were in kind of, I guess, the order of what they shared that maybe there's the most of, or that they were looking to have what they have the most of, and I think that it makes sense based on what the roles are. So here are the roles for this year. There's quick service, food and beverage, merchandise, attractions, custodial, Cedar, Lifeguard, and recreation attractions. So recreation attractions was a new one added this year. There were very limited spots with that. They said just a few, and then kind of everything else went in order like I listed it kind of backwards. So quick service, food and beverage, merch, and attractions all have the most, which makes sense. I feel like that company wide probably needs the most people and are the busiest kind of roles with a lot of people needed to fulfill those. And then it kind of went into the other ones, which were Cedar, custodial, Lifeguard, that maybe had a little bit less. Lifeguard obviously is more specific. If you are a lifeguard, that role could be suited for you. And then recreation attractions was only offered to a couple people, which is exciting that there was like a lot of different options and some variety. As you noticed maybe from my ranking, I ranked character attendant very, very high, and I would love to do that role, but unfortunately this year for Canadians, no character roles were offered, whether that be attendant or performer. So I like instantly knew in that moment when they had shared that at the presentation that merchandise was then my clear-cut one. It was number 2, so it only moved up 1 spot, but that made it easier to know that merch was the one that I was going into the interview hoping that I would get. I was kind of bummed about character attendant because I feel like I would love it so much. And I know Lucy last year did it for the first time. She applied for the first time, got that role, which was so exciting. So I had hoped maybe it was available, but it was not, which is okay. Hopefully sometime in the future, they'll bring it back for Canadians or international people because I think it would be a super exciting and fun role. So now we'll get into the questions and I'll kind of put them up on the screen as I go through them. And these were questions that I was asked as an alumni. And then I'll kind of touch at the end of my questions, maybe some that were asked to other people that it was their first time, and kind of chatting to people in the hallway after the interviews. Like I said, I had Roy, who was just such a joy to talk to. Honestly, every time that I've seen him, I obviously saw him last year at the interview, and then I also saw him like a couple times at Flamingo Crossings Village, and he just has such great energy, and it's like honestly unmatched. Like you see him and you know he works for Disney, and I just think that's so cool. He had like the greatest ever fit on. It was so awesome, and he just has like this energy and aura about him that like radiates positivity, and I was just so excited that I was the one that got to interview with him because he's just so much fun to talk to, and I was just excited about that. Last year I had Danielle, like I said, and she was so great and made me feel so comfortable, so I knew that either way that I could go with the two of them or Mandy, who was new this year, I knew that no matter who I got, it would just be such a fun conversation. And what I will say before the questions is they do make it very clear that it's more of like a conversation about getting to know more about you if it's your first time and why you want to do the program. And then if you've done it before, they kind of want to know about your program last year, what was the experience like, and why you're wanting to do it again. So I think that's a unique thing for like an interview, where mostly in normal jobs, it's kind of like your strengths and weaknesses and what makes you a good fit, which I think this kind of is just in a different way of like wanting to know why you want to do the program, why you're a good fit for the program, which I think is very nice and makes it feel like you're just talking to someone who wants to get to know more about you, but more in like a casual, fun, relaxed way, which I think is a really unique way that Disney does those kind of interviews. So the first question was, tell me about your program. And that was a great question to start off of because he wanted to learn about my program last year, obviously knowing that I am an alumni. So he basically just said, let's get into it. Tell me about last summer. How was it? What did you love about it? And I, of course, gushed about how much I loved my last program and how great it was and just everything about it. We got into like moving down there, what that was like, and about my location and my role. And I just was so happy to share everything about it, that I loved merchandise. I loved theater animation, my location in Hollywood Studios, that I got to pick up at the Emporium for one time, which was super fun. And then he kind of said, you'll have to next time in merchandise, like pick up other places and kind of knock off all the parks. And I was like, that's exciting. So hopefully that means that I'm going to get merchandise if I do get accepted. It was just a really nice conversation where he made me feel very comfortable and very happy to be talking to him about my last program, because my program was so great and I'll take any chance that I can to talk about it. The second question I kind of lumped into that one, but it was, what role did I get last summer and what location did I get last summer and how did I think that that fit with me and did I enjoy it? And of course, like I said, I got merchandise and was placed in theater animation, which is in Hollywood Studios, and it's so many different locations. It's like Star Tours and the Runaway Railway and Frozen Sing-Along gift shops, all of Toy Story Land, the like mobile carts around the park, and Fantasmic. So many different locations that honestly offered me so much like variety, where I didn't feel the need to pick up other places because different shifts were so different. And I just loved my work location. I loved all of the people, coordinators, leaders, my coworkers. I honestly just think that I was so blessed, and I'm so thankful to all of those people. And I shared that with him, that it just felt like a family. I loved it. It was excellent. And I just loved every aspect about my program. The third question he asked was what I liked about merchandise, the role specifically. And I kind of shared with him that I just thought that merchandise was a unique role where you had more time with guests and could really like get to know what they like or why they're here, where they're from. Like, is it their first time to Disney? Do they come often? Like how their day's been going. I just honestly love to talk to people and learn more about them and their Disney story and like what makes Disney so special to them, or like if they come to Disney often, if it's their first time. And I just think that's something that's so unique to merchandise, where you have time when they're standing in line and then when they're coming up to cash out or when they're roaming the floors of the stores. I just think that was a really unique thing about merchandise that I really loved. And I think that was like the biggest perk about it for me, was just being able to chat with people, sell cool merchandise, and get to know more about people's Disney stories. Next question he asked was what I did on my days off. And if you saw my videos from last summer, you know that I was a park person for sure. I hit the parks, I swear, every single day that I was off and almost every single day that I worked. I was at the parks and got use of that pass for sure, and I like shared that with him that I did Guardians almost every day. I was at the park before work. I would go drop my stuff off and then get on the Skyline or go to Epcot or stay at Hollywood Studios. I just shared everything about that, but also that I got to spend time with my friends and meet people who were mostly Canadian people that I got to really connect with, which was nice, and do stuff with, because that was like the core that you come in together with, and you're Canadians and you come do this program together, you really bond and stuff. But then I also shared that I met lots of like American people from the UK, all over the world. It was just exciting to share that on off days, I was always so busy. I hit the parks lots, but did things off property as well. It was just a really good conversation, and he was laughing at me that I did Guardians every day, but I said it's the best. I had to do it. So he thought that was super fun and just a really great conversation topic to have. The next question he asked was, what did I do for my cultural exchange activity requirements that you had to fill out for your visa? And I thought that was a cool question. I maybe didn't expect it, but it made sense when he asked it, like to learn about kind of what I did or what I took away from the cultural exchange aspect of the program. And I shared with him that I got to see American restaurants and try out some different food. I got to obviously go to Target, which was one I know that I've been before, but just like some different like Targets around, and experience a lot of like American specific things that we don't have in Canada, which was cool. And then I also shared that I did lots with my roommates in the apartment on certain things like 4th of July, where they made a whole big like buffet full of American food that they would like usually do for 4th of July. I got to see fireworks from Flamingo Crossing that were kind of close by. It was just really cool little things that I did. I didn't get to do like the big excursions that people did, where they have like the buses from Flamingo that go to the beach or go to other things, because I was in the parks lots and did other little activities off property for those. But I'm hoping this time, maybe going back down, I'll get to do more of those things and take part in those. But I thought that was a cool question, asking kind of what those requirements were, because I don't know if people know that, but on the visa, you have to do something every month that you can't do in Canada, or that like relates to being in America and learning about kind of their culture and things that they do there. So that's like a requirement of the program and the visa. So it was fun to share those things with him. He also then asked and made sure that I was open and willing to do the Movein Dates that were announced for the program, and that I'm able to work full days and full weeks of 30 to 40 hours. And of course, that was all good with me. The Movein Dates are perfect, and it's kind of like around the same time that they were last year. And then full weeks are perfect again. My last program, I probably got closer to 30 hours than 40 most times. I would say towards the end, it kind of moved up a bit closer. So I did say, of course, I'm open to that. He said you can also pick up shifts and stuff, so that's not an issue with me. He also then asked, am I still in school and what am I taking in school? So that was a great question, because to do this program, you do have to be enrolled in a university or college in Canada. It's something that people always ask, how you can still do the program. You can do the program as many times as you're in school, to my knowledge. If you want to keep on doing it, you're able to do that, but you do have to be enrolled in school, which was something that people did ask me. I think maybe even on the accepted video and last year as well. So I'll just say that here, that I am still in school. I'm taking advertising and marketing communications. So I shared that with him. He thought that was cool, that merchandise kind of relates to that with advertising and like product placements and things, which was cool to chat about that stuff with him, because that is very true and very exciting about merchandise, is that I do feel like I get to kind of like learn about why Disney does stuff the way that they do in their stores, and why they organize stuff, and kind of all that whole like behind the scenes, like the product placement and sort of like the marketing angles that Disney uses. He also then asked me if I would be open to going back to Hollywood Studios and working in theater animation again, which was a cool question to be asked. Honestly, I didn't expect that. I was gonna mention it to him and just ask him, which I did at the end, like if that happens often, that people go back to their old locations. But of course I said I would be so open to go back to theater animation. I loved it so much, and it would be a dream to go back there. I loved the people, I loved all of the locations, and if that was a possibility, then I would definitely be willing to go back there, because I would. And I thought that it was a fun question when it came up. I, like I said, didn't even think that he would ask that, and then when he did, I was like, oh, this is so cool, because I was gonna ask this anyway. So I definitely said and would be open to going back to theater animation, and I'd be so excited if that did happen. If it didn't happen, he asked like what kind of locations that I do like. Am I kind of like a fast-paced person? Did I ever pick up at resorts or things like that? And then I shared, like I said, that I only picked up at the Emporium. I do like a fast-paced environment, which I felt like theater animation had a lot of those. Like Toy Story Land was very fast-paced, and Fantasmic and Star Tours, like all that stuff was kind of fast-paced and busy, which I like, and that's why that I loved my shift at the Emporium. So I did mention that to him, that I do like a fast-paced environment, and he thought that it seemed like that I could handle that, which was cool, and he said that he'll definitely mark that down in my little file there. Then he also asked me to kind of end off why that I want to do the program again, and I loved that question because I honestly didn't think that I would do the program again, just because it was like my one time that I did it. It was my dream. It was so unexpected and so thrilling that I did it, and that I got to go do the program, and I didn't really know that I would apply again. But then, like I said in the accepted video, when applications came out, it was kind of just like, I should apply like Heidi said, and what if there's the like 0.01% chance that I do want to do it, and if I didn't apply, then I can't do it. So I shared that with him, that like my fiance was very supportive, and she said that I should apply again because I loved it so much. And for me, honestly, this is my last chance to do it. Of course, we're getting married next year. I'll be graduating school. So for me, this is like my last possible chance to do Disney's cultural exchange program. And I just knew it like in my heart and in my head, like when Heidi said it to me, that I would love to do it again, and I would be sad if I didn't even apply. So that was kind of why that I applied. And I also, like I said last year, that most people who do this program are like younger, maybe early 20s, or kind of like first or second year, whereas I've been in school for a while. I did a program before, I'm doing a program now. I'll be turning 29 when the program happens. So I just felt like, again, even last year, that I'm kind of like old to be doing the program. But then I realized that like any age you can do this program. If it's your dream and you want to do it, then you should chase that and follow that. And I said that I want to be an example for that, for maybe people who like don't necessarily think that it's the right time for them, or they're unsure about it. I want to be someone who can show that you can do this at any age. Even if you feel like you're a little bit older, you'll still have a great time. You'll connect with people, and it will just be such a fun experience. And honestly, was like the best experience that I've had in my whole life moving down there and doing this. And it really, I think, made me like a better person and kind of helped me grow a lot. So I shared all that with him, and he loved that and thought it was super cool, that I want to be someone for people to see who like I'm doing this program, even though I am a little bit older. So that was kind of like my reasoning, was that it's my last time. I loved it so much, and it's just a dream to work down there, and why not do my dream twice? Then asked me if I have any questions for him, was kind of how it ended off. And the only question that I asked was like, how often do people get placed at locations that they've done before? Does that happen, or is it not really realistic? And he said it's basically just on need. So wherever they need people, they kind of get that in there. They talk with like the different people who run operations, and they figure out where do we have a need for, and that's kind of how they place people where they get placed. He said then we'll find out our role locations like just before we do the program, like a month out, which is the same as last year. And that again, they kind of like from this time on figure that out. He said that it's happened before. It is possible. I could get it, I could not, but he said that no matter what location I get, I'll be a star in merchandise, which was so kind to hear, and I really appreciate it. And it was a great way for him to end off the interview. He then said we'll hear from them by the end of January, which was a little bit earlier, obviously, because I got accepted at the beginning of this week. So that was nice. He shared that with us, which is good because it gives you like a time frame of when you can expect to know by. But those were the interview questions. I thought they were great, and I'm so glad that I could share them with all of you. Because hopefully if you're applying as an alumni, this is helpful for you. And if it's your first time, like I said last year, I'll leave that video linked in the description down below of what they asked me as a first-time person. But like it was all kind of the same stuff this time from what I heard from people, of like why you want to do the program, talking about like your roles ranked, have you lived with roommates before, those kind of things about like the feeler for the program program to see if you're a good fit. But yeah, I'll leave that video linked in the description down below. If it's your first time that you're applying for this program and you want to see kind of what they asked me last year, then I'll leave that video down there. You can check that one out. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope that you all enjoyed seeing like the process behind the scenes of what it takes to like apply for this program and do the interview and kind of what they ask. I just think it's exciting and cool to see that and hear that. I know that I watched countless videos and looked them up of like this whole kind of video theme of like the interview and the application. So hopefully, like I said, this is helpful to anyone who's applying. And if you are applying, congratulations on applying. You're gonna do so amazing, and I'm so excited for you that you're applying. And if you did get accepted and you're watching this as well and you're gonna do the program, I'm so excited that you're getting to do the program. And if you'll be down there when I'm down there, let me know. I'd love to know, again, who's coming down there, from where. I know in the last video, some people from Canada and the UK and kind of some different countries shared that they'll be down there, which is so exciting. And I can't wait to get down there and start making vlogs and new videos for all of you. But in the meantime, there still will be videos to come. We're gonna kind of do all of the lead up stuff like we did last time. I'll share all about merchandise. I'll do a whole video about that. But I'm so excited to get into this and start with that content. And there will be some more content coming to our channel. I wanna say stay tuned for Friday, a week from today. We're gonna have a whole video all about some updates coming to our channel, new and exciting things, and kind of what our goals and plans are for the year. And like I said earlier, stay tuned on Monday for the first pilot episode of our podcast, the Park Squad Pod, coming out on our YouTube channel and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'll leave all that information in the description down below. Like I said, your support would be so greatly appreciated, and we're so excited to start this up. And like I said earlier as well, be sure to go check out Magical Castle Embroidery and all their stuff in their shop. They're celebrating 5 years, which is so exciting, and we have our code SUNNY20 from today on until Tuesday, which is so great. So definitely use that up and get so many fun things. They got so many great stuff in the shop right now, and I can't wait to see what new designs they keep on coming out with. It's always so exciting to see what stuff comes out. Their whole like Happy Place collection, like I said, is so incredible. So definitely go use that code, check out their shop and their Instagram. It's all linked in the description down below. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you're new, consider subscribing to our channel for more Disney college program / cultural exchange program content to come. We're so excited about that and hope that you all are as well. And ring that bell so you never miss any new videos from us. And remember, it's always sunny.